Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's been a long time since I last uploaded. It's international break, boring, England are boring, Gareth Southgate's a terrible manager. So this is a bit of a different video. It's a bit of a late one, I probably should have done it a bit earlier. But it needs to be made. It's a good video. I'm going to split it into two parts. So this is going to be the first part. And I'm going to go through every team's transfer window, their ins and outs. And then grading it on from F to A star, so you know, like classic grading in like A levels and stuff like that, all that nonsense. But yeah, let's just get straight into it. We're going to go in alphabetical order. I'm going to just go through all the ins and outs, or the major ones for all the teams. I'm going to do the first 10 today, and then we'll do the first 10 in the last 10 in the next video. But we'll start off with Arsenal. Now Arsenal, they brought in David Raya, good goalkeeper. They brought in Declan Rice for, I think that's one of the signings of the summer, especially also in terms of the price. Declan Rice is quite an expensive one. They brought in Timber, Havertz, so those are all the ins, and then they've let go of Pablo Mari, Xhaka, Tierney on loan, Matt Turner, Nuno Tavares on loan, Balogun to, I think, Ligue 1, I think he went, and Rob Holding. And overall, I think this is a good transfer window. Replacing Xhaka with Declan Rice is just incredible. That's going 3 levels up. Arsenal nearly won the league last year. They bottled it towards the end. I think, what, was it only like 9 points out of the last 27 or something like that? Which is really poor. They had it in their hands and they bottled it by losing to City twice, drawing meaningless games, being 2-0 up in certain games and bottling it. Yeah, they bottled the league last year, but they've made some good additions to their squad, especially if they're going to try and challenge again. These transfers that they've made is really good. Rice, obviously, for Xhaka is great. David Raya is a good keeper. I think he's better than Aaron Ramsdale, although Aaron Ramsdale is playing right now. Timber is a great signing. Although he's had a bad injury, which is really unfortunate. But I still think it's a great signing. He's a great defender. He's going to be a great defender. He's a good defender now. So I reckon he'll be a good defender for Arsenal to come. He can play on the fullback as well, I'm pretty sure. The only bad signing, I think, is Kai Havertz. I don't think Arsenal fans can really justify this at all. It's a very dead signing, and I don't know why 60 million. And he shouldn't be playing. That one is a bit of a weird one, Kai Havertz. Arteta keeps backing him, saying he's good. I've not seen anything so far. I haven't seen anything from him since the Champions League final for Chelsea, to be honest. And even then, all he did was score, and I don't think he really did much throughout the game. Apart from the goal, of course. But Kai Havertz, that's the dead signing. They've let go of a couple players on loan. Maybe they shouldn't have let go of 2 left backs. Balogun, a good striker. I think he's, I don't know, maybe better than Nketiah. Maybe they should have kept him. Just the only thing, so I'm going to rate this overall an A. Not A star, it's not perfect transfer window. Just the only thing I think could have been better was if they got another striker to replace Balogun, and Jesus gets injured a lot. And I'm just not convinced with Nketiah, really. I don't think he's a title-winning striker. So overall, I would give this transfer window an A. Then moving on, we've got Aston Villa. Now, they've made some interesting signings, Aston Villa. Tielemans from Leicester, good signing. Pau Torres, that's a great signing, by the way. United tried to buy him a few years ago. We were linked for him heavily. Moussa Diaby, good signing from, I think, Bayer Leverkusen. He's looked good so far this season as well. They got Lenglet on loan. He didn't really do anything for Spurs last year, but still a bit of, depth at the back and stuff like that. Nicola Zaniolo as well. I think either a loan or maybe that one is a permanent. I don't know. But he's a good player as well. Done well for, I can't remember. I think he went to Galatasaray. He was at Roma for a bit as well, of course. But yeah, their outs. The notable ones are Cameron Archer to Sheffield United. I think that's a bit of a, I don't know, I feel like they should have kept him, to be honest. They've let go of Aaron Ramsey, and that's not the Welsh one. That's a youngster that they've got. They let go of Marvelous Nakamura on loan and Sanson on loan. Those are the most important ins and outs. But overall, that's an incredible transfer window, realistically. the only reason I'm going to rate this one an A, but the only reason I'm not going to do A star is because I feel losing Cameron Archer and Aaron Ramsey may be big losses in the future, because they've got so much potential, those two, and letting them go out permanently. I mean, if they went out on loan, that's fine, but they've both gone permanently, which I think's to rival clubs as well. I don't think that's the best. But in terms of players they brought in, little could be done better. Just solid signings all round. And Unai Emery is going to take Villa to something special. They're coming for that Conference League this year, and they can even push for the Champions League places this season. He's doing such a great job. And it's good to see Unai Emery getting the respect he deserves, because Arsenal fans, I feel like, treated him pretty poorly. They had stupid expectations back then, the Arsenal fans, after the Wenger years. Unai Emery did well with the squad that he got. He just couldn't win that Europa League, and ultimately that was a good from Unai Emery, but there's not much more he could have done. But yeah, I'm going to go for an A for this Villa window. Only an A, would have been an A star if it wasn't for them losing Cameron Archer and Aaron Ramsey. And then we go into Bournemouth. I mean, they've brought in a lot of players. They've actually spent 109 million. For a little Bournemouth team, I think that's amazing, realistically. They brought in Hamed Traore. Some of these players I don't really know too much about, so I can't discuss them in too much detail. They brought in Romain Favre, Milos Kerkez. I do also apologise if I butcher anyone's name throughout this video. It's a common theme in my videos. I butcher players' names. It's just I can't say things properly. Then we got Radu, the centre-back. I do know who he is. They brought him on loan. Alex Scott, I feel like if you play Football Manager, you know who Alex Scott is. He's everyone's first signing in Football Manager because he's got such high potential. He's young. I can't remember. I think he's from Bristol City. It's a good signing, that one. They brought in Max Aarons. They brought in Justin Kluivert, obviously the son of the famous Patrick Kluivert. Tyler Adams as well, and Sinistera on loan. And then the outs, they've got rid of Jefferson Lerma, Stanislas, who's obviously been there a while, Sariki Dembele, who he didn't really play, coming in from the Posh, but Pearson, and then Travers on loan. He's been loaned out. So overall, I'd rate this window a B+. I think the signings of Alex Scott, Tyler Adams, Max Aarons and Kluivert, they're all amazing signings for this little Bournemouth side. I just don't think this is A material. It's nothing world beating. It's not going to take them to extreme new levels. In fact, Bournemouth haven't really looked good so far this season. I think maybe part of the problem will be down to the fact that Alex Scott and Tyler Adams have just both been injured to start off with, which is really bad considering that's like half their transfer budget they've spent on those two players. And also losing their manager at the beginning of the season, it just limits the transfer window realistically. As it's all different, we don't really know what we were to expect. So far they're not doing too well. So I've gone for B+. It's not anything higher than that. And then we go into Brentford. They brought in Flecken, Sade, Romeo Beckham, Jisoo Kim, Nathan Collins, Godos and Neil Maupay. And they've let go of Vincent Janssen, Dervisoglu, Bidstrup, David Raya on loan to Arsenal, and Canos. And overall, I'm just going to rate this an average C. They've only really re-signed players on look that they were loaning in last season. The Tony replacement right now seems to be Neil Maupay. I wouldn't worry too much about that though, Brentford fans, because Mbeumo and Wiss are already good players and are filling in already. But considering it's highly likely Tony will probably leave in January, you would have thought they would have gone for a striker. I know they probably don't have, maybe they don't have the funds and they're waiting to sell him first. But Neil Maupay, I can tell you, is never in a million years going to fill in for Ivan Toney. It's not a bad window. It's just average. Nothing. It's just average at the end of the day. It's nothing special. They've not lost major players. But obviously, considering the fact Brentford will have little funds, they've got is it second smallest stadium in the league, I think? Oh, no, it'll probably be third now because obviously Luton are here as well. But yeah, I'm going to rate this an average C. And then we go into Brighton. They've brought in some interesting players as well. They brought in Dahoud from Dortmund, João Pedro from Watford, that's a good signing. James Milner, which I like that signing, a good experience. Verbergen, the goalkeeper from Belgium. Noel, Atom, Julio, Slater, and Ansu Fati as the most notable ones. And then the outs, they've gone for, there's major outs here. McAllister, who was one of their most important players last season. Undav on loan, yeah, don't worry too much about that one. Robert Sanchez, and then obviously that massive Caicedo deal to Chelsea. There've been several outgoings for Brighton on loan, but they didn't really have too much impact on the first team. So overall, I'm going to give this window a B. I don't know whether I'm being generous, because obviously they've lost two of their best players in Caicedo and McAllister, and that's half their midfield realistically gone, or 2/3 of their midfield. But the revenue they've generated is something else. I think they're one of the only teams in the league to actually have a positive net spend in the past few years. I don't know how long that is, I just saw a stat. But considering the players they've lost, the few they've bought in, they'll still do well. They're already doing well this season. João Pedro is a good striker to bring in, because striker was their problem. James Milner brings in good experience, especially with they've got a young team. They've got a lot of players coming through the ranks. Obviously, loads have been loaned out. Brighton have got one of the best recruitment systems in the league. So bringing in Milner is great for dressing room and leadership qualities. And they've replaced Sanchez with a good keeper as well. And he's a younger one as well. So overall, I think it's a solid B. Even though they've lost two of their best players, it's not been dreadful. Let's just say that. And then we're going to Burnley. Burnley have bought in some interesting players. They bought in Nathan Redmond, who's a decent signing. Brune Larson. They brought in Sander Berge. They brought in Aaron Ramsey from Villa. That's what I meant by he's gone to rivals. They're not actual rivals, but Premier League rivals. James Trafford in goal, who obviously looks like Fogden. And the players they've let go of, Weghorst on loan, Scott Twine on loan, and Ashley Barnes has gone to Norwich. Again, I'd rate this window a B. It's nothing amazing. It's better than average. They brought in some important players. James Trafford in goal was necessary, and they've managed to keep a lot of already their good players. Nathan Redmond's a good one as well. Sander Berge as well, buying off a Premier League rival in Sheffield United. But the only reason I'm not rating it higher is probably because I don't think it's outstanding. It's all right, again, similar to Bournemouth, similar to Brighton, similar to Brentford. It's not game-changing at all. And obviously Burnley are currently 20th with no wins and -8 goal difference. And everyone's anticipating them to do really well. So maybe this window isn't amazing whatsoever. But I'm going to give it a B. I think it's better than average because they brought in some decent players and managed to keep a majority of their players that they went up with. And then we go into the real big one. This one is going to take a while to go through. We've got Chelsea. So the ins, there's about 400 of these. We've got Nkunku, someone called Kendry Paez. They brought in a lot of youngsters, Chelsea, so I'm going to go through them all because I expect they will do well in the future. Nicholas Jackson, Alex Matos, Diego Moreira, Issy Samuel-Smith, Angelo Disasi, Robert Sanchez, Caicedo, Lavia, Cole Palmer, Petrovic, David Washington, Ollie Harrison. That's just all their ins. Then we go into outs because there's a lot of those as well. Kante, Dujon Sterling, Bakayoko, Koulibaly, Kovacic, Mendy, Havertz, Loftus-Cheek, Mount, Azpilicueta, Baba, Fofana, Pulisic, Ampadu, Hutchinson, Aubameyang, Angelo's gone out on loan, Kepa, Ziyech, both on loan, Lukaku, loan, Hudson-Odoi, loads of youngsters going out on loan as well. This window from Chelsea is really quite something. In the past year, I think I saw this stat. They've spent more in this window, just this window alone, than the past 6 years Spurs have spent in all their transfer windows. That's crazy. But as much as you all hate Chelsea, guys, as much as you'll go FFP, as much as you hate Todd Bowley for ruining the Prem with American money or something like that, you can't deny he's a clever man to avoid these FFP rules. And any team that's getting combined 120 million for Mount and Havertz, they're pretty good in negotiations, aren't they? They give long contracts to players. They're giving like 10-year contracts. And basically how it works is the transfer fee is divided into how many years their contract is. So if you've got a 100 million deal, but then you divide it into 10 years, That's only 10 million a season, and that's not illegal whatsoever. They've also generated a large amount through selling players, because they sold 6 players in one day to the Saudi League, and obviously that's getting them off the wage bill. Saudi League spend a lot of money as well. So overall, considering the large amount of outgoings, the large amount of players they brought in, I'm going to give this window a C+. I don't think it's amazing, because obviously when you bring in so many players, it's difficult for them to adapt to game plan. Obviously Pochettino's a new manager in there. Too many signings at once can there's no link up, there's no chemistry, if you know what I mean. But obviously it's going to take a while to settle. They've got a lot of young players that are going to grow and get a lot better. Hopefully lots of them have been loaned out as well. But considering the large amount of spending, I'm still giving this a C+, because I think it's a good window. Caicedo, although he's not had a great start, I think that's a great signing. Nicholas Jackson, I reckon, is going to be good as well. I can see similarities to him and Didier Drogba. I don't want to go insane, crazy into that. But at the end of the day, Chelsea, that is a good window. It's good. They brought in good players and they're smart with the way they do it. So yeah, C+ for Chelsea. Then we go into Crystal Palace. Compared to the Chelsea, there's literally there's like 5 ins. They've brought in Lerma, Chris Francis. They've brought in a couple of youngsters, Dean Henderson and then Rob Holding. And then they've let go of obviously Zaha, Milivojevic, James McArthur and Jack Butland. And then they loaned out several youngsters. I'd give this window an average C, maybe a bit lower, you could say that. But I just think it's bang average. Just the only problem with this, it's a big problem, this one. They've lost Wilfried Zaha, who was undoubtedly Palace's best player for the past few years. Losing your best player is going to be bad, but they've already got a few youngsters that are already stepping in. Elise and Eze, just to mention 2. They're great, they're 2 ballers, such good players. And they're going to step in for Palace. Dean Henderson will be a good goalkeeper as well. Obviously, they've been looking for a goalkeeper for a while, because they had Guaita for a while and he was pretty old, like 34, 35. And they had Sam Johnstone for a bit, who's also pretty old as well. But Dean Henderson's only about 26, so he's got like 8-10 years in him as a goalkeeper. Just Rob Holding's a bit of a mid-signing. We know he's not great. His time at Arsenal, he was one of the major players that bottled the league for Arsenal after they lost Saliba. They've lost a bit of experience in Milivojevic and McArthur, but those 2 players didn't really play too much anymore. So I'm just going to call it an average C. It's not terrible, it's not amazing, just bang on, right in the middle. And then we go into Everton. They brought in Ashley Young, Danjuma, Jack Harrison, Beto, Chermiti, those are the major ones. And then they've let go of Yerry Mina, Andros Townsend, Davis, Iverson, Nkunku, Sims, Holgate, Iwobi, Morpay and Damari Gray. I'm going to give this a C-. I think it's just short of average, a tad below it. In terms of Sean Dyche, he's always been a manager who prioritises defensive solidity, winning games by 1-0, holding on, making sure they get clean sheets and then just not having too many chances of scoring the chances that they do get. Is what he did with Burnley. But Everton's massive problem right now is that they aren't defensively solid and they still can't score goals. It took, 3 games for them to score their first? Was it 3? Or maybe it was 4. No, it was 4. Yeah, it took 4 games for them to score their first goal. They brought in Beto and Danjuma. I'm assuming, obviously, those are the ones that are going to try and better the goal scoring record. But I don't think it'll be good enough. It's not looking good for Everton. The massive club that they are, been in the Prem ever since it started back in 1992, I think. They've got to be getting better quality players in. They deserve to be higher up in the table. They don't deserve to be in relegation scrap every single year, because they're a historic club. But I think this window's pretty poor, C-, and I do worry for them. So yeah, a C- for Everton. And then into the final one of today, of the first 10, because this video is already reaching like 19 minutes long. Fulham. They've brought in Raul Jimenez, Calvin Bassey, Adama Traore is an interesting one, Castagne, Stephen Bender from Swansea, Iwobi, and then they've let go of Joe Bryan, Cabano, Mitrovic, which is a big one, Knockout and Mbabu and Congola have gone out on loan. I think they've loaned out a few youngsters as well. I'd give this again bang average C. It could be lower again though, because losing Mitrovic is a massive loss. He's been such a pivotal player for them for the past few years. Broke the championship record for goals. But they have replaced him with another striker who has done well in the past in the Prem. Raul Jimenez, he was great for Wolves. He just kind of slowed off towards the end, so he's not really that special anymore. So I don't know whether he'll be able to fill in as well as Mitrovic does. But they've made decent signings, nothing special. So apart from losing Mitrovic, they haven't really lost anyone of real importance. So I'm going to give this one a bang average C. So yeah, that's part one of this two-parter, the transfer window analysis, rating all the team's transfers. I can't wait to get into Man United next episode, because that is going to be a long one to talk about, because obviously I know the most about my club compared to other clubs. I'm not going to lie and pretend that I know loads about other clubs when I support Man United myself. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I know I haven't uploaded in like a week now, but thank you for watching. Make sure you tune into part 2 if you enjoyed this, and make sure to share this with loads of other people. And I'm going to leave my TikTok, my Instagram, my Snapchat in the description below, and make sure to give it a follow and stuff like that. But thank you very much for watching, guys, and have a good one.